With football season upon us now, there's a lot happening in the news, so be sure to subscribe to my other channel, JG9 News, where I give you up-to-the-minute updates on everything happening in the NFL in a completely relaxed, unscripted format, and I give my thoughts on everything taking place around the National Football League today. And now, on with our feature presentation. August 31st, 2024. It's week 1 of the college football season, and we find ourselves down in New Mexico for this FBS on FCS matchup between the New Mexico State Aggies and the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks. As is the case with just about every single matchup between an FBS and an FCS school, no one is expecting the FCS school to do anything. They are here to get their paycheck and get beaten up on. And this is especially true for the Redhawks. They're playing a New Mexico State team that last year went 10-5, beat Auburn, made it to the Conference USA Championship, and made it to the New Mexico Bowl. And the Redhawks don't have the highest expectations for themselves. They were 4-7 the previous year in 2023, and when they played an FBS opponent to open up the season as the sacrificial lamb, they lost 45-0 to Kansas State. They also lost 42-10 to Iowa State in 2022, and 59-28 to Missouri in 2021. So you get the idea. These games usually don't result in anything for the Redhawks outside of a paycheck, and no one's expecting them to win this. However, as you can tell, this game is a bit different, because with 4 minutes left in the contest, the Redhawks, amazingly enough, find themselves up 16-15 on the Aggies. No one in their wildest dreams expected that the game would go like this, but we are 4 minutes away from a true FCS upset over an FBS school. Head coach Tom Matukowicz, or Coach Took, has his troops facing 4th and 1 at their own 34-yard line. Obviously, the Redhawks are going to punt the ball away here and force the Aggies to drive down the field to get the go-ahead score. And they're going to put their faith in his defense that has allowed just 1 touchdown and 2 field goals on the day, seeing as 2 points came on a safety. Obviously, the Redhawks are just going to kick this ball and hold on defensively for dear life, and or not. Nope, they're going for it. They're winning the game. They're pinned deep in their own territory, and if they don't get this first down, New Mexico State is going to have the ball with a guaranteed scoring chance and with a ridiculously short field. The Redhawks are seriously going to throw this lead away if they can't get this 4th down play to go. This is well, let's just see how the heck this goes.
Brown can't get it.
He didn't get it.
He's stuffed.
Well, that sucked. No other way to say it. That absolutely sucked. The momentum of the game is completely flipped on its head. New Mexico State would immediately capitalize on the short field. They would score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion to make it 23-16. And when the Redhawks got the ball back for their last chance with 2 minutes to go, they couldn't get it in the end zone, with the Aggies holding on and winning the game by that 23-16 scoreline. Absolute heartbreak. We could have had an FCS on FBS upset, and we looked like we were moments away from having that happen, but it didn't. All because Coach Took decided to go for a 4th down in his own territory with the lead. And everyone seemed to think the same thing, because if you look at the top replies to this play on Southeast Missouri State's tweet, everything says something along the lines of this being a stupid play and that they should have just punted the ball. And I know what you might be thinking here. Come on, this is lunacy. This has to be a dumb decision. You went for it on 4th and 1 with 4 minutes left in your own territory with the lead. And if you didn't get it, you'd be giving the ball back to the other team a guaranteed field goal rate. This is one of the stupidest things I've seen. Just pin them deep and trust your defense to get the stop. And if you do, you basically win the game. Meanwhile, if you don't get this 1 yard, you're completely and utterly screwed. This doesn't make any sense. However, I don't know if this is going to surprise you or not, but I had no problem with this call. Really, I didn't. Because in actuality, I would have done the same thing. Coach Took got a lot of scrutiny for this call, but I really had no problem with it whatsoever. And I'm going to defend him today. Welcome to In Defense Of, the series where I break down questionable calls that I actually agreed with. Let's dive right in. And with anything like this, I love to look at the risk and reward involved. And obviously, with this play call, there is a ton of risk, but there is a ton of reward. However, the risk might not be as bad as you think. We'll start with the reward, which is obvious. If you get 1 yard, you keep the drive moving, and more importantly, you keep the clock moving. If you get 1 first down, one of 3 things is going to happen next. Number 1, you'll get another first down and potentially be able to end the game and win it right then and there. And you know my philosophy on that. Most of the time, if you've got a realistic chance to win the game and accomplish the greatest reward of them all, I'm going to take those chances, especially as an underdog where you need 1 play versus having to trust everything to go right on 4 consecutive defensive plays or thereabout. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying that Southeast Missouri State should have gone for on 4th and 9 at the same spot, but for 1 yard, we'll get to that in a bit, but that's a pretty good situation to be in. Number 2, you won't get another first down, and the clock will run all the way down to 2 minutes, meaning that New Mexico State would have to drive the length of the field to get into field goal range and win the game with less than 2 minutes in the contest. Or number 3, you won't get another first down, and New Mexico State will be forced to burn their 3 timeouts and won't have anything left to work with, meaning that if there's a look that they don't like or an offensive miscommunication, they are straight out of luck. If you get 1 yard, you either never give the ball back, hold on to the ball for long enough where New Mexico State will have under 2 minutes to go to drive down the field and win it, or hold on to the ball and force the Aggies to be without any timeouts for the remainder of the contest. That is a pretty good reward to me. It's pretty good. And that's especially true because it was 4th and 1, and you've been running the ball relatively well throughout the contest. Not great, but you were getting yards. The give on this play was to Peyton Brown. On all 5 of his carries thus far, he gained yardage and got 18 yards total, so he was averaging just a hair under 4 yards per carry. Basically, to not get the first down, something would have had to happen that had not happened yet, because Brown got yards on every single run. Now obviously, that's just a sample size of 5. What about all rushing attempts? Obviously excluding those rollouts by a quarterback since those weren't designed. Of Southeast Missouri State's previous 17 runs, 12 of them went for positive yardage and would have been enough for a first down. I'm not going to pretend that the Redhawks ran the ball well over the course of the game, because they did it, but they were at a bare minimum getting yards. Not a lot of yards, but they were getting yards. In other words, the odds were in their favor, and the reward was a monumental spike in their odds of winning the game. If they can just get 1 yard on 1 play, they don't put the game on ice, but they come awfully close to doing so. Obviously, though, there is a massive risk involved. We can't ignore the elephant in the room. This play took place at your own 34-yard line. You're up by 1 point. If you don't get the first down, then New Mexico State is starting this drive in field goal range. If you don't get the first down, then it's a guarantee, barring anything crazy, that the Aggies are going to take the lead and put you behind the 8 ball. Is going for it in your own territory for a good chance of winning the game worth it if the risk is that you're guaranteed to be behind and you're guaranteed to be losing? And yeah, I can't deny that. However, the risk might not be as great as you think it is. Because while it is true that a short field gives New Mexico State a great chance to take the lead, do you want to know what it also does? It prevents New Mexico State from running out the clock. It prevents them from getting the ball last. If New Mexico State starts that deep in your own territory, considering how much time is left in the game, and considering your timeout situation, having your timeouts available plus the 2-minute timeout that they added this year, there isn't really a scenario where the Aggies can run out the clock and leave you with no time left and can walk it off. If you go for it and miss, you're still guaranteeing the fact they're going to get the ball back and will have the last chance to answer. 2 or 3 first downs in that spot, and the Aggies give it back to you. 2 or 3 first downs if you punt it away, and you're not touching the ball last. And obviously, this is a moot point if your defense was playing lights out and was getting off the field quickly. If your defense wasn't allowing any yards and there was no reason to put them behind the 8 ball, then obviously it's a different conversation. But that was not the case. In fact, that couldn't be further from the truth. New Mexico State's last drive took up more than half the quarter, as it took 7 minutes and 36 seconds off the clock. In fact, they had quite a few drives that took 6 or so minutes off the clock, which would have been enough to burn the clock for the rest of the game and settle for the final score. The last 2 drives that the Aggies had went for 34 and 36 yards, so based on extremely recent history, even if you punt it away, New Mexico State is likely to drive right down the field and get the requisite yardage needed for the game-winning field goal with no time left on the clock. And 5 of the Aggies' previous 8 drives picked up at least 30 yards, so it was clear that even though they weren't necessarily scoring a lot, that they were moving the ball. This is a very different situation if New Mexico State had gone 3 and out every other possession. But with something like this, where they've been moving the ball relatively easily and killing clock while doing so, I have no problem with saying, all right, we're going to run the ball and get a yard, and if we don't get it, we'll have another chance to get it back and win it. But what we're not going to do is let you win the game by running the clock out. Considering how the game had gone, I can 100% respect that strategy, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. What we're not going to do is have you kill the clock, beat us by death with 1,000 cuts, take it all the way down, and have the ball last. In fact, I absolutely respect that strategy, and I completely get where this guy right here that you've been watching this whole time, Coach Tuke, is coming from. And after the game, a reporter obviously asked Coach Tuke about that 4th down play and why he called it. And his logic was pretty similar to mine. We're the less talented team. We have a chance to almost win it right here and there, and we're going to take that chance. Said Coach Tuke, at the end of the day, if you're going to go in and beat an FBS team on the road, you gotta go beat them. You can't just hope for the best. Hayden Brown, who got the ball on that play, is 215 pounds. And the O-line played pretty good, and I just felt like we could do it. Yep, bingo, right on the money. You can't just hope for the best. With how New Mexico State have been moving the ball as of late, and with how they've been churning the clock, you can't just punt it back to them and hope for the best. You've got a chance to take control right now. You've got a chance to take it to the opponent. With the odds of converting as high as they are, needing 1 yard, you go ahead and do it. Especially because if you don't get it, you'll still be guaranteed to get one more chance and do it again. I have no problem with this whatsoever. Obviously, this didn't work out. Obviously, this did not go according to plan for Coach Tuke and the Redhawks. But even though the execution wasn't the best, I'm not going to fault Coach Tuke for the play that ultimately ended up costing his team the game, because it was 100% the right call. Considering how the Redhawks were gaining yards on the ground all game, considering the clock situation, considering the opposition's ability to move the ball down the field and kill the clock, and considering the opportunity to have the ball last if you fail versus if you never try doing anything at all, this is one decision that you can definitely make a defense for. Get your official Jaguar Gator 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.